Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to follow us wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. If you love what we do and want an easy way to show your support, please consider leaving us a positive that's all the stars rating on your favorite listening platform. It helps SPN and fanfic lovers find us and share in the fun. I'm Sandra.
I'm Kasey, and we thought that we would probe into some episodes, well, an episode that I fucking hate. I don't even know why I said we thought we'd probe. I came up with this stupid idea. I was like, I hate this episode. Why don't we rewatch it and see if we can figure out why I hate it? And then I cried. So, fair warning, I might cry again. But we enlisted a buddy. We brought Ted with us. Well, I didn't. Sandra brought Ted with us. Everyone say hi, Ted.
Hi, everybody.
Brilliant. Nailed it. Excellent, Ted. So, the episode in question, if you can't already tell, I mean, you've seen the title. You've seen the title of the video. You know what episode it is. But it's Mystery Spot. I am on record loudly and consistently that I fucking hate this episode. And it's come up a lot. And I seem to be in the minority of people that hate it as well. Because everyone I ask about it, they're like, oh, no, I really like it. So I was like, clearly I'm the problem here. It's clearly me. So I said to Sandra, I was like, why don't we do a dive into Mystery Spot? And she went, none fucking March, we're not. And I was like, yeah, right, that seems fair. So we pushed it off and we did a rewatch. We're fresh off the rewatch boat. We did a rewatch last night with our Discord channel and Ted. So, you know, join the Discord. Nudge, nudge, nudge. You can rewatch Supernatural with us. We took notes and we had thoughts. And I think I've nailed down why I have such a visceral reaction to this. But we're gonna break down the episode anyway. And have a chat about it. And Sandra is absolutely pulling her fucking hair out because she's trying to wrangle me and Ted. And I am nothing if not a deflector. In fact, I'm doing it right now. This is the longest intro I think I've ever done. I'm nothing if not a deflector when it comes to talking about difficult topics. So she's trying to wrangle me. And me and Ted don't get to talk that often. If she let us talk more, it wouldn't be like this.
I'm not the one that's not a thing. We're not going to say that I'm the one that's keeping you two apart. It's just timing and everything else. It's just life in general. Life in general does that, right?
Life in general does do that.
Yeah, life in general does do that. No.
No, it's not Sandra. It's just life, you know.
Ted is also in our Discord. Ted just is not active in our Discord. So, I mean, you know, there are ways and methods.
So you can play.
Yeah.
You can play a fun game. You can join our Discord and you can play a fun game of who do you think is Ted? And if you win, I will give you the information about someone else that's in our Discord and you can try and hunt them down. It'll be fun for you. Join our Discord, link in the description.
Do I get to vote?
Do you get to vote?
You get to vote?
What?
You were saying, you know, guess who Ted is, and if you win, you get to share some information about somebody else.
Oh.
Can I pick who it is?
Oh.
I might have some inside information on who Ted is, though.
Okay. I mean, there's always a possibility. We don't know.
Maybe.
Honey. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. So I don't have a document. And when
we're running off my handwritten notes in a prayer today.
Right. When Kasey says we have notes, these are Kasey's notes. Because basically when we talked about it before, the whole rewatch thing kind of morphed into a thing where we were going to watch the episodes separately and then come back. And then I think at some point where we're like, well, if you want to have Ted on, let's find a time when, you know, we can sort of maybe watch it together. And then it turned into, well, let's see if we can watch it with other people in our Discord. So that all kind of happened very, I don't know, maybe over the course of like a couple weeks. I think we ended up doing that whole thing, figuring all that other stuff out. So we watched the episode yesterday. And I think really having more people watch it with you, even if it had been Ted and I think it would have been fine. But I think having more people watch it with you did help you process, hopefully, or at least get through it. Because there was a lot of support. Because as Kasey has said, we've had many people on when we have interviews with guests and we start to talk about the episode and the episodes or the shows, you know, arc and different things that we like about it, characters and whatnot. One of the questions I think we've started to ask more and more is about Mystery Spot, because it is one of those episodes that for Kasey, I think they've just really felt like they're in the minority. And I don't think you can say that that's the case really anymore, because a lot of people have come on and have voiced that it is not one of their favorite episodes. And I think that that's maybe been, I don't know if you could even pinpoint, is it generational? Is it who's your favorite character? Like it's kind of like a different, right? Like it hits everybody differently for different reasons. But I know for Ted and I, we find this to be a very, I would say, entertaining episode because of the way, for me, and Ted, I'm speaking for you, so if I'm incorrect, let me know. But the way that the show starts, it definitely has a 3-act in this episode, right? Like I think the first act is Sam and Dean are trying to figure out what's going on. It's really more Sam, once like the stuff starts to continue to happen, and then dragging or trying to drag Dean into this is what's going on, with the limited amount of time he has to try to figure it out each time. And then in the second act, I think it's really primarily Sam trying to figure out who's behind it and how to break the cycle. I think at the end of that second act, I think is when Dean dies on that Wednesday, right? Mm-hmm. And then the third act for me is Sam living without Dean and trying to get Dean back and confronting the Trickster, and then, getting it to get back to that point where they're back to a Wednesday where Dean is alive, and then, they move on to the next point. So there's a lot of things I think thematically too that's going on with this episode that if you're just a casual watcher, you're not really like digging deep into the whys or why is Sam going through this? And we had some really great conversations and thoughts and comments from people in our Discord that we'll try to refer to every now and again as we were watching it. There was a lot of thoughts, so we may miss some. But overall, I think it was more about, helping you kind of pinpoint if there was a moment, right?
Yeah.
Like for you, where everything just sort of like, there's no turning back from it. Because there were some moments where I knew you did find funny or enjoyable or entertaining.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I wouldn't even call it a roller coaster of a ride. I feel like it's just very much like you're doing something kind of really, I think a lot of people just call it like black comedy or dark comedy, like the whole premise of it, it's dark, right? Like, you were laughing at the fact that a character we love and adore is getting killed in various ways, different times. And the other character having to deal with it is maybe getting overshadowed by that aspect of it for some of us, not all of us, but some of us. And then it's the fallout and it's the rebuilding and it's the, how does Sam get himself out of whatever is going through him and in that moment, because it's a lot of stuff. So I think it's good to be watching it and then talking about it with Ted, because Ted's gone through these episodes with me multiple times as well. But he's also, he's definitely a big fan of Supernatural, but he's not as invested. He does not have a podcast. He just has a wife who has a podcast about Supernatural. So,
well, I think one would argue having a wife that has a podcast is like, that's pretty close.
Yeah, but he's not
invested.
He's not in my brain all the time, like having these thoughts about it as we're going to discuss it. Like it's like we have chats about the show, and I think
I've only attended how many Comic-Cons or Supernatural conventions with you now?
A few.
That's not important.
You've had a few with me. Yeah, you've had a few with me.
Many hours to go down south, to go north.
Mm-hmm.
That's not important. That's not what we're talking about right now.
Nah, I'm just a husband.
Stay on topic.
No.
you carry the bags. You're
not just the husband. You are you are going to be the sticker hander outer.
You are the sticker person.
Yeah.
The sticker hander outerer at Phillycon. But no.
This will
fulfill
probably
a much more
out
important role
Yes.
than just holding the bags.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, I think I called him my Supernatural wingman, because he truly is. When it comes to the conventions, if I have a thought or I have an idea, he will be the one that will like, let's see if we can make that happen, kind of a thing. And he kind of just goes with it, and he's very invested in that. So all
that to say, Ted is a semi-neutral third party, because while he has experience of Supernatural and the world of Supernatural, and he likes this episode, he's not like as insane about it as me and Sandra.
He's not thinking of, I mean, like, I don't know, Ted, you tell me, are you thinking about these characters a good portion of your day?
Not really.
Okay, there we go. Kasey and I
Sorry.
are. No, that's just the thing. Like, I think because we do so much around this show, I think by design, if anything, it's
They're just in our brains, because we're like, even if we're not directly thinking about them, we're thinking about fic writing, or we're thinking about what we're doing for the podcast, or we're thinking about the Discord, or they're just enmeshed and everything. I feel like we're both
deflecting,
diverting.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah,
just a little bit. Let's just fucking hammer into it. So,
I mean, I feel like you should, because since you were the one that wrote the notes.
The first thing that I actually wrote down was I couldn't understand, and maybe you can shed some light on this, and maybe we'll just discuss it. Sam is the one that's like, even from the jump of the episode, he's really serious and like bitchy. But Dean is the one that's complaining about being there. Dean is the one that's like, this is nothing. This is going to be a bust. There's nothing here. Blah blah blah. So Dean's the one that's complaining, but Sam's like, from the jump, really bitchy about it. And I'm kind of like, I'm getting thinking about it like, did he think he was going to find something at this mystery spot that was going to help him with Dean? Because it's like, it's in season 3, so Dean's like running out his year. So did he think he was going to find something there? Is it just to set up like your expectations of the episode? It's strange to me that Sam's the gung-ho one about the hunt, but also being bitchy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I
talks amongst yourselves.
I think this is just a thing that they do when they set up sort of like a bottle episode or something that's not following, like, the plot, the overall plot that's going on too, where like one of them was like, hey, we've got this case, we've got to work it while we don't have a lead on Bella, and we don't know how long this has been since Bella stole the Colt. And when this next case comes up, like, there could be some time in between. They could have just kind of ran out of like, where is she? What do we do? So I think, I don't know if this is more to Sam trying to get back to something maybe a little bit more normal for them, which is just working a case and trying not to think about what's going on, even though from previous episodes that's all he's doing is like, especially like the Supernatural Christmas, right? Like Dean's trying to do something more normal, and Sam is like, I don't want to because it's going to be the last thing, that this last Christmas kind of a situation.
Is this episode before a Supernatural Christmas or after it?
It's after.
The first episode after.
Yeah. Well, it's not the first episode. So there's a Supernatural Christmas. I can't remember what number 9 is. Then there's Dream a Little Dream.
I have a handy dandy chart, don't I?
And then there's this one.
Look at my handy dandy list.
Yeah. What's after Supernatural Christmas?
Malleus.
Oh, it's the witch one. It's the witch one with Ruby and the Coven of Witches. That's why we blocked that one out.
And then Dream a Little Dream, and then Mystery Spot.
I feel like Dean's like, he's wanting to, I mean, of course, you're going to want to try to find the Colt, right? Because if that's the thing that might be able to get you out of your demon deal. But I don't know why I couldn't even begin to get into Sam's brain as to why he's doing that right now. Like, why is he deflecting or why is he diverting? I don't know. Any ideas, Ted?
The Mystery Spot, I initially looked at it as just like a filler episode between the big stories. And back to my interpretation of this episode, initially I enjoyed the slapstick comedy of it. Just, watching Dean throw jokes out like, was it cool when I got run over by that car? And Sam's response. And initially I thought the show was a funny episode, but then learning more about, Kasey's point of view, my eyes are opening up to the trauma it was inflicting on poor Sam. And I see it a little bit darker now. I also changed my opinion of what I think of the Trickster in this episode because he tormented Sam for, we don't even know how many total scenarios that he had to deal with, even that weren't aired, that weren't viewed by us. And the whole time Trickster is just enjoying what he's doing to him. So I definitely lost, he lost some points with me there.
It puts a darker spin on the character for sure.
And as far as Sam goes, I kind of wonder why he didn't give up on getting traumatized knowing that he's just going to get reborn. Just like, how many times can you watch your brother die in front of you knowing that he's coming right back the next morning to that same goddamn song before you're just like, okay, well, yeah, he's dead. I got to go wake up again.
Yeah. I think leads into... Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna... Have you lost any very close family members, Ted? Like, adjacent to you? I don't mean like grandparents or anything, but I mean like mum, dad, siblings.
No.
Okay. So, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, with true love in my heart. When that happens, come back to me and say, because you'll come back to me and you'll go, I understand why Sam just didn't wait to wake up.
But I think too with Sam, I think you get, and a lot of people have talked about this too, how very super hyper focused he gets when it comes to trying to save Dean in certain situations. And I think that comes out a lot in season 3. The lengths he'll go to save his brother, or like how invested he will be in finding a loophole or a way out.
And it's almost like, I don't think it's, the test and the lesson is not this, but it's almost like to a grief addled mind like that, and almost like, I know that some people who have OCD have this. You're like, if I can do all of the right things, then the bad thing won't happen. So there's every chance that in Sam's mind, he's like, if I can make all the right steps, if I can do all the right things, and I can make it to Wednesday and I can save Dean, maybe I can do all of the right things come the end of the year. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if he is so very, like, logical, like, in his brain, like, if I can do, like, if I just, like, pay attention to everything, like, when you do get further into the episode and he talks about, like, it's been 100 Tuesdays, hundreds of Tuesdays, and you just figure every time he's had an opportunity, he's building on his information, and like everything is just kind of like accumulating. I think somebody made a comment too where like Sam's like, he had a bunch of time to do research. Dean has no clue as to this one person, but he's had all of this time throughout however many Tuesdays, once he got that one bit of knowledge, to go, well, there's a library, or there's this, or that. Like, there's all these things you don't see him doing that he had so many opportunities to do. This reminds me of the Time Is On My Side episode, where, like, that's another episode where Sam goes very dark. Like, Sam is willing to harvest organs. It's with the doctor.
Oh, the doctor, Dr. Benton. Yeah.
He's willing to harvest organs from people to keep Dean alive. He thinks this is a way they can get out of the demon deal. And Dean's like, well, what are you going to do? Like, well, I'll do it too if I have to. Like, he's willing to go along with whatever it takes to keep Dean alive. And I think this is just maybe like the start of you seeing more of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just builds and builds and builds. He goes through it in this season. I don't know if you could say in a way that I think he does in any other way with Dean, because season 5 is he's very
much softer in season 5. He doubts himself a lot more in season 5. Whereas this is, he hasn't failed yet.
Yeah, and they have that schism anyway in season 5. You know what I mean? Where this one, they're still trying to work together on the main goal, which is get Dean. How can we get Dean out of this demon deal?
And that's it. When you come to season 5, he's failed this task. He hasn't failed yet. He's still optimistic that he's going to do all the right steps, and he's going to figure it out.
I think, Ted, like you're so for you too, though, you were like, you just don't see how he would have the willpower to just continue going is what like you're just thinking he would have just given up completely.
Oh, that is not how I interpreted that at all. Sorry, Ted.
No. I think that's where he was going with it.
Yeah, how I would do it personally, and I just think I would get so mentally burnt out that just like, how many times can I grieve if I'm just going to have to redo this again and again and again and again? It's just like, it just doesn't stop.
But if you think about it, Sam knows he's in a time loop. He does know that, so
he thinks there's a way out.
he thinks there's a way out. He's still constantly thinking, if I do A, B, C, D, I can figure this out. There's no, and that neither of them are the type to kind of like give up, you know, not that would be a give up, but, you know, to kind of go, all right, fuck it, you know? Yeah. Neither of them are that, but he's still thinking, if I move all the pieces in the right way, I can get out of this.
But there's I think too, like, you have to think about the mental exhaustion that he's going through. Like, not even just the emotional, but the mental exhaustion of having to, there's a certain, like, how much repetition can one person go through before they just completely lose it? Like, I don't think it's like, you know, it's like when you have to go to work every day and you know you're going to do the same damn thing. Like, what gives you that? You know, again, we know what his motivation is, but that's still a lot. That's incredibly taxing on any normal human being. And of course, Sam and Dean are not normal human beings. You know, we've already given them, you know, that I feel that out, you know, in that way that they're another level. But like the mental exhaustion of it, of repetition. I mean, it's funny. You do see how twitchy he starts to get, like as the show goes on, like as the episode goes on. Like it's this. First, it's this irritation with Dean, and then it's like he's constantly like scanning. He's like, you can see his eyes in certain scenes, like everything. He's like clocking information. Like right now, I've got the show kind of on in the background, but like him walking down the street talking to Dean, and he's just very like, he's twitchy and his eyes are just going everywhere. Like he's like, what did I miss? What other piece of information, you know, do I need to maybe check out or do? Or he's constantly looking at, I need to keep Dean safe. I don't know what's going to happen in any given situation that's going to come at him. Like it's that kind of a thing. So he becomes the bodyguard, and he's also the investigator and the detective. And just, you know, there's a lot of things that he tries, and he just can't seem to not have him, you know, survive and make it to the next day. There's always something. So I would think that constant, oh, not again. Oh, I've like, because I would think Sam's like, I fucked up again. That's what I would think it would be.
I would 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm still
curious as to why Sam didn't just throw him in baby and just drive him out of town as far as they can get before the inevitable happens.
You don't know if he tried that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think they could have tried that. That could have been one of the hundreds of days where they tried to do the thing, you know, and something happened.
Maybe he did, and they hit a deer, and Dean died, and it was very sad.
Yeah.
I will say, I can't not inject reality into this. Obviously, it's just a fictional TV show. And Sam and Dean, as you said, are not normal people. But it is very difficult. The brain is a crazy fucking thing. And I think you would be surprised how long it takes your brain to truly absorb something, especially something that traumatic.
Yeah.
We're talking full disclosure, if this is the first time you're listening to this podcast ever, sorry. I lost my mum when I was 22. So that is a massive part of the reason why this episode fucks me up so much. It was months and months, and so many more months than you would think it would be before I stopped reaching for my phone to call her. Before I stopped thinking it was her when my phone rang. And I knew this was not something that I could maneuver my way out of. This was not a time. This was not something that I could fix in any capacity. And it still takes such a long time for your brain to truly know that information. So Sam starting every day again as a fresh chance. You know, I get it.
I am a little disappointed in Dean in that episode, now I think about it, because Sam explains to him what keeps happening, and Dean does not seem to pick up on the traumatic effect it's having on his brother every single time he's killed. And Dean just kind of wants to go about things like it's like everything's okay and go about his normal.
Yeah, I think that was probably a choice to play it to that kind of slapstick, because it kind of feels like they set you up in the first half of the episode, not the 3 acts that Sandra mentioned, but they set you up in the first half of the episode to be like, ah ha 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 ha, isn't this so very funny? Ha 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 ha, this is hilarious. But the Winchester brothers, they'll figure their way out of it. And then, like, you know, you get to the Trickster, and you're on the precipice of the roller coaster. You know, you've come into the big dip and it's stopped to build the anticipation and you're right there. And then afterwards, you know, to dive into fucking hell. So you're like, shit, Dean's dead for real. And it's so like they build you up with the comedy so you can really feel how dark Sam goes afterwards. You know, you're really in the trenches with him.
Yeah, but I think there are moments, and I think there are moments when I think Dean is trying to work it like a case with Sam.
Yeah.
You do see moments of him, like, I think it happens more when they have the time, like in the diner, like those scenes where like he will say something like, okay, we'll figure it out. Like he's trying to, I think he's just like, we will try to figure this out. Like, I think he's trying to do it, but I think he also like, again, you've got to come at it from the perspective of this is a guy waking up every day, no memory of anything that's going on. And Dean, as Dean does, like, you know, first it's like, you know, he takes it in, but there's only so much time for him to do it in any given capacity throughout the day. So I think those moments in the diner are the ones, or like if he's walking, like I remember like that one time, like he's like, well, you know, every day that I walk down the street with you, did you ever stop and do this? And he goes back and he talks to the girl, you know, and it's like, because he's trying to work it simply as a case at that point, because there's nothing he can seem to do, you know, to help Sam break out of it. So it's like Sam does have to be the agent in this and take the lead, whether he wants to or not. And that could be another thing of like, he's not going to have Dean sort of helping to guide or lead as much as he like complains a lot of the time. He's not going to have Dean sort of like saying, well, we're going to do this thing. Let's do this thing. It's like,
yeah,
I've got to take the lead now. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't kind of run your ideas through somebody and have them go, well, that's not feasible, but this one is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to try everything out yourself, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And also, again, I think in Dean's defense, it would be very difficult to comprehend what somebody was trying to explain to you. Again, if you haven't lived that, and I know Dean lived with, you know, losing Sam, but it still took him a couple of days to figure out what the fuck he was going to do.
Yeah.
He spent a period of time going, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And Sam doesn't get that. Oh, fuck. He just has to get up and start again. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're such babies.
It's understandable too, like, you know, like seeing him and just being like, you know, because I think too, we're always expecting, I would think maybe, you know, Sam would expect Dean to sort of like have an answer, you know what I mean? Like to kind of like, well, this is what we can do. This is how we can figure it out. Like, you know, I just not having that person to work it with makes it more difficult for him.
Especially if that person is there with you.
Yeah.
And you're the only one that can work that much depth into it.
Yeah. And I think as well, it's Dean not sort of getting on board makes it all the more unsettling for Sam, because it's like being the only sober person in a room of drunks. Everyone else is operating on a wavelength that you can't get, you know, and it makes it all the more disorientating.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a part of it as well. Whether that was a choice by the, you know, the writers of the episode, or, you know, would it be charitable and put it on the Trickster, it all adds to this weird, like, just discombobulation of not really knowing reality properly anymore, that I think, you know, kind of pulls it together.
I still come back to the fact that as hard as this episode is for you, Kasey, you know, and I think it is structured in such a way that I think there's a reason why it is one of the most highly rated episodes in the show, because it does do all of those things in the beginning that hook you into what exactly is going on. And then it continues with this really interesting, you know, this reveal of who it is and what they're doing, but then what happens after. And again, it's this foreshadowing of what's going to happen with Sam without Dean. You know, if all these things happen, this is a possibility. This is what Sam's life could be like. So I think it shoots in enough humor that if it didn't, it would be the most goddamn absolutely, like, it would be so bleak that it has to have those moments that just keep you
Oh yeah.
entertained, you know?
If I really like, it's difficult, but objectively, it's an excellent episode because it really, it really hammers home like the codependency of the boys, and it kind of sets you up like if you sort of pull out to meta, and I don't. At that time in season 3, the Crypt Keep era, this was Sam's story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe by the end it was still Sam's story, but that's not something we're going to get into. But it really kind of sets you up for who Sam could become.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off the back of season 2, and you have to, you got to save him or you got to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
It's playing into that like who Sam could be.
Yeah, because he was one of the special kids, right? Like it was like they were trying to figure out at the end of season 2, like if he was going to be the one that was going to help Azazel, open the gates of hell and all of that stuff, and the whole, what still was to come for him and decisions he was going to have to make. Yeah,
I think it's interesting as well if you compare the two. Dean's first thought was to sacrifice himself. He was going to sacrifice himself for Sam, and that was easy as breathing. Sam's going to sacrifice everybody. There's nothing in Sam in this episode that says that he would lay his life down if it brought Dean back, but he'll kill anybody you put in front of him to bring him back.
Yeah, I think
so. That's why in the Discord yesterday, and I thought of something after he identified Bobby as the guy he's got to kill now. And I made a joke, but now I'm thinking about it. How many innocent people did he lay down to get to that point?
Yeah,
because he's now programmed to think the world's against, all this bad stuff happens, and there's nobody to protect him anymore, and just got to kill every bad guy that comes near me and just take out anybody.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to, like, again, towards the end of the season, you realize that Sam wants to save Dean, but be with Dean, like you said.
That's
Kasey.
It. Dean just wants Sam to live, and if he has to sacrifice himself for that, he will.
Yeah.
Sam at no point is going to sacrifice himself. That is not. He's not going to do that. But Dean needs to be with him. So it's, again, when you pull back to the whole meta of the show and you pinpoint this as like right in the middle of Crypt Keep era,
right,
with the special children and Azazel and the apocalypse and everything, it draws a really sort of like startling comparison of the two of them, and you go, oh no shit, without Dean, Sam would,
Yeah, but then I'm thinking too, like, again, I think these are all possibilities, right? These are the possibilities of what could happen without him. And I know we see the start of season 4, when we get some more of a backstory about what was going on with Sam when Dean was in hell. Like, there is a point when he's willing to sacrifice. He goes to a crossroads demon, and at that point, I think he's willing to, like, he's exhausted everything, and I think he's like,
I do think that's an end of the line thing where he's tried every possible thing, and he's like, okay, if it's got to be me, but that was not his first go-to.
No,
Dean's first go-to is take me. But
Dean doesn't feel worthy enough to bother with, so I think that's what it comes to.
Okay, guys, I got a question.
Yes.
Would you have liked to have seen a spin-off on Sam and Dean as the vampires?
No, with those fucking teeth.
No.
Okay, they might have to change that up a bit.
No, I mean, I think...
Yeah, I would have done. Yeah.
I know there was that point, where we don't get all of that backstory, about what happens, about that time period. It might have been interesting, but yeah, they would have had to up their game with the teeth needed to... They needed to redo that whole thing. That was just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
I would watch a spin-off where they were vampires as long as they fix them fucking teeth.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Sam going dark side. I would watch that.
What other thoughts did you write down, Kasey?
So I know we discussed it a little bit in the chat and stuff, but about the Trickster body hopping. Do we think he's the skeevy mystery spot dude, or do we think that guy is just, to quote someone in our Discord, standard Floridian man?
I don't know, Ted. What do you
Florida.
think?
I feel
I actually wrote down Trickster body hopping ? Discuss with Ted.
I feel like Trickster is very much involved in what's going on, unlike God, that kind of sets up a scenario and then lets Dean and Sam go at it.
Mm.
Trickster is more involved. He watches the scenario each day and has to tweak it a little bit each day. Therefore, he needs to be visibly watching it.
Mm.
So, like, I do believe he was that dog that attacked him because he got tired of all these times he does the reset, and now he's okay. Damn it! Okay, now I'm just gonna attack him. I'm in the dog. I'm gonna attack him.
Well, I'm still gonna like the dog, even if it was
I like
the
the
Trickster.
dog,
Yeah. Well,
of all the dogs you could have picked, though, a golden retriever. Come on now.
Yeah, but that's interesting though
Softest
too.
baby.
I mean, when you think about it more that way, he has to be the other chess player in this scenario. Like he has to
That's
think
an interesting take. Yeah.
a few steps ahead, or like if Sam goes here, what do I do? Where do I improvise? And I think that's a thing that's interesting. Because I think there was some watching and like finding it maybe entertaining, but then maybe getting tired of it and having to inject himself in to kind of like, no, it's good. I like that.
I think
that little hints, like that bottle of hot sauce that we keep seeing different levels in the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're giving too much credit. I think you're giving too much credit. I think that's a genuine filming continuity error, but it's plausible enough.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, you could definitely say, that, I mean, again, they have the ability to rely on the fans to think that, whatever's going on throughout the day, you don't know who else was in who else used the hot sauce. Maybe somebody didn't use as much hot sauce one day. Maybe somebody used more. So it's like, it's that kind of a situation where you don't know what's changed or what's moved just a little bit. Because everything can sort of play out. Yeah.
When the Trickster changes up his syrup
and
that catches Sam's attention. How many other things had Trickster done up to that point?
Yeah, because as much as Sam's trying to figure out the puzzle to fix it, the Trickster's equally trying to figure out the puzzle to make him get the point. So they are playing chess against each other for who's gonna win.
Yeah, because I mean there at one point, like every day, like until like there had to be so many days that happened before Sam just decided to take the old dude's keys, right? So, and he was probably doing that every day if he was getting to a certain point in the day. So he was probably like all these different things he was trying to keep up with. If I keep doing all these different pieces, it's kind of like
it's like a puzzle game.
Yeah,
like an adventure game. Like it's
like a slide puzzle. Yeah, it's like where if you try it one way, it doesn't work. You've got to move back. But then if you see that it keeps working this way, well, I know I can do this up to this point, but then I have to figure out what this next bit is.
You kind of like you figure out move one, and then you fuck it up. So you start again, and you do move one is the same, but then you start trying different things with move two, and then you figure it out, and then you've got to do move one, and then move two, and then on to the next one. And that's what Sam's doing. He's just figuring out the sequence of moves that he needs to do, or he thinks he needs to do to get out of it.
Yeah, I think somebody.
For anybody that's listening, please, if you're good at designing things, I want to see somebody design a puzzle box themed by Supernatural.
Ooh, like a lament configuration puzzle box.
I'm not quite sure what that is.
The puzzle box from the Hellraiser franchise.
Oh, yeah, something like that. I had one growing up. It was a little wooden box. It was like.
I bet you somebody has, Ted.
Yeah, I bet you it exists.
Bet you if you Etsy that, you might find something.
Linkers.
Yeah. I also wonder, like, because we know that the Trickster kind of loses his patience a lot too. So I think somebody had stated in Discord, maybe he finally changed up the syrup because he needed to get Sam's attention, like, to move him to the next step to try to because I always get in the weeds about like what this is all about, right? Like, because once you get into the whole puzzle aspect of it, you kind of forget to pull back and see what quote unquote the Trickster's trying to teach Sam, and I'm
trying to teach him to let go. I think the end goal is that Sam just goes, fuck it, gets in the car and leaves, and just leaves Dean dead. but I'm not sure what that is supposed to do wider plot wise.
Yeah.
Because Dean's dying anyway. If the plan is to separate Sam and Dean, that's gonna happen.
Are we following the Ruby thread? Like, is that like, because I think somebody had mentioned that too in the server.
Yeah,
like,
is it to make Sam go dark side? I don't know. But then the Trickster's like, whoa, you're too many bags of cats crazy. I'm out of here. Whatever. So I genuinely don't know what the purpose of that is. It's weird.
Yeah, I think that's why the more I think, like Ted was saying, like, it's prepping us for changing channels in season 5, right? Like, for what could happen when the Trickster gets involved and what kind of lesson he's trying to teach. But again, some people were trying to tie this to the apocalypse and, Sam and Dean having their roles and having to play them. And I think and I think I talked about this last night. Like, I think the Trickster is a great happy accident in a story like Supernatural, because at this point, as far as I can remember, they weren't going to go the route of angels, but this was the time when the writer strike was, happening, and they didn't know what was going to happen. They had to kind of I think they had to truncate this season. It was only 16 episodes, so it wasn't like the full 22 or whatever. So, it's
then there's the question. Yeah. Then there's the question of, is the Trickster genuinely a monster? Is it a trickster like they identify it as in Tall Tales and then this one? And the fact that Gabe takes that body is just a happy coincidence. Like, we don't know if had the writers decided that this Trickster character was secretly going to be Gabriel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think at this point, I personally don't think at this point that was even thought process,
If you say no on that, I think you have to say then this episode is not tied to the future apocalypse in 4 and 5.
But it could be whatever Ruby's plans are that we don't yet understand about. She is very invested in Sam, right? And the whole Lilith thing and everything like that. Yeah. So,
let's get super deep about it. Is this something that Ruby's had a hand in to force Sam a little bit more dark side, force Sam to her, to the demons, or the demon blood, rather?
That's what I was thinking too. Like, is it some sort of were they working somehow together? Like, was there a plan in place? She's all about. This was a couple episodes after the Malleus Maleficarum episode with the witches, and you get more backstory on Ruby. So yeah, I think it opens up possibilities on what that could have been. And again, we don't. I think there's been talk, and again, we kind of know this show backwards and forwards, and then we just get in the weeds, and we're like, I don't remember what happened in which season and why was this a thing. So to know what the trajectory was going to be, but then how it's shifted because of other circumstances outside, of the writer's control, and then they took a different path, but then they were still able to backtrack and go like, you know what, we got this really great character that we can do this thing with. Let's bring him back in season 5, and let's do this with him. So again, it's just a matter of, it's kind of when we go back to Chuck, did they know what they were doing when they brought Chuck in season 4? Like, did they know that was going to be a thing? No, I highly doubt it. But then they were able to use that and backtrack.
They were able to retcon the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
You want to hope that it's linked to something, and it wasn't just let's torture Sam for 40 minutes.
Yeah, but again, I think when it comes back to it, it is how would he? Because maybe the idea was. I feel like somebody said that, Dean wasn't going to go to hell and he was going to be saved at the end of season 3. Maybe that could have been the way it was going to get resolved. So maybe. This could have been an episode where you see what could happen, all that sort. So maybe that was a part of it too. Like, this is what could happen, but that's not really going to be the end game. And then guess what? It was the end game, you know, and then maybe then maybe they had to go
like my heart will go on. Yeah, they're like, hey, it could have been like this. It's not, but it could have been. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many questions.
So many questions. What else did you note, Kasey?
So I commented on this that as we go through the first few days, Dean doesn't look as put together as normal. Like, I know through the whole process of the episode, poor Sam goes through the fucking ringer. But Dean looked a little bit scruffy. So I was just kind of like, well, that's probably worth noting. But then one of our Discord members, Sal, had the thought that Dean could be a little off due to the fact that this is Gabriel's interpretation of Dean, which then leads us back into the whole question of, is this a pocket dimension that the Trickster created, like changing channels, or is he literally just resetting the day? You know, like, exactly what kind of time magic is happening right here?
I guess it really does matter, like, how much power you think the Trickster has. So,
and that comes down to whether you think it has secretly been Gabriel all along.
I mean, he could literally be taking the whole idea of Mystery Spot as the Trickster and making it this sort of like this, in this particular area, right? Crazy shit happens. And maybe in this particular area, he's created some sort of a pocket dimension. And unfortunately, maybe everybody in this town or whatever, or this small, you know, however amount of space he's dealing with, they're all involved in this thing over and over again. And nobody has any idea about it except for Sam. That could be a thing too. So is that a pocket dimension? I'm trying to understand, like, because I don't know all of it. I think time travel stuff is very fascinating, but I don't understand any of it. So is that what that would be considered, a pocket dimension?
Yeah, like an AU. Yeah, like he's just put Sam and Dean in just like almost like a stage.
Which Changing Channels was, where they literally went into a warehouse, and then that was kind of where everything was happening, was in a warehouse.
A little bit like that, yeah.
What do you think,
Any thoughts, Ted? Pocket dimension, alternate universe, actual legitimate time travel?
Pocket dimension, I was thinking like visualizing like a little snow globe, and the Trickster has created a little town and then brings Sam and Dean into it and lets them play out their whole scenarios over and over and over and over.
Like that fucking
snow globe up.
What's that Jim Carrey movie?
Truman Show?
That's it.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe he was maybe he was doing his own location scouting and going, I need to find the perfect place, you know, and it could have been, you know, if there is this mystery spot, you know, that this guy is touting, you know, the guy from Florida is like, you know, he's like, this would be the perfect thing. And then he was using, I think, information, right? He was using the fact that there was this person who was shitting all over the mystery spot stuff anyway. And that's his MO. He goes after assholes. So it was like, this is a thing, and then this is probably something that will get the boys' attention. Again, you got to wonder why, you know, like that it comes back to like, why, like what was his investment in all of this with Sam
as well? It's the only episode set in Florida, as far as I know. And that's pretty fucking far away from any kind of support network that Sam and Dean might have. It's a long way away. It's a long way to try and call for help. It's going to take somebody a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Just an idle thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think pocket dimension, like, I don't know if we're going with, I don't think he's got enough mojo to reset time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think at this point, if we're going with the fact that it is a trickster.
Well, he does though, doesn't he? Because he sends Sam back in time at the end.
Again, what if you're thinking about the fact that this is a pocket dimension that Sam is going through, which again,
so do you think Sam lived those 6 months in the same pocket dimension?
I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of it, is that whatever's going on in this time frame is all involved in the same dimension of whatever he's doing. So again, there's a lot of, the Trickster's very invested, which, you know, I mean, I'm sure he could be off doing other things, and like, you know, maybe he just eventually he checks in, or like here's Sam doing his thing or going back and forth. But I don't think he's it becomes a God thing, right? Like, I don't know if he's in it with him the whole 6 months. He could be like checking in or whatever, doing his own other stuff, that's going on. Again, I just don't see it as, I think Sam lives it. I think Sam experiences all of it, unfortunately. Even if, like, say, all those hundreds of days, like, he's not dealing with 24 hours a day, every day. He could be dealing with 5 minutes before Dean falls in the shower, and then boom, he's back. He could have another day where he goes all the way to like 23 hours. Boom, he's back. He goes 12 hours. Boom, he's back. But he's going through all of that,
He's living that time.
He's living all of that time. And then
it's not resetting for him the same way Dean is. He's just, his day is starting again at a different, sometimes it's after 5 minutes, sometimes it's after 12 hours, whatever. Yeah.
And then when Dean's gone, I think, unfortunately, that is 6 months of every day, 24 hours a day, that he's living that time out. I don't think there's a break for him in that reality. I think he's going through it. And that's probably something we're going to talk about. You see that change in Sam over those 6 months and what that would do to him without Dean, kind of a situation. Yeah.
So I think, let's talk about the kills, because I know it's something that I never heard anybody talk about. So the first few are awful. The shotgun, cold open shotgun is the worst by far.
Mm-hmm.
The car. What other ones are there?
Piano.
Piano, I think, is the next one, right?
Yeah. No, it's the piano gets me as well. It's the first few where you kind of live a little while before and a little while afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
That really, really like the car. That really gets me.
Yeah, because they're not, like, for me, the funny, quote unquote, aspect of the montage is how quick it is and how you go
the
boom,
montage
boom,
is
boom. That one just
that's less traumatic for me. It's the ones where you're really in the moment. When it's like, we can't even go out for breakfast, Dean dies randomly in the shower, do these tacos taste funny to you? Like, that's so quick that you don't really have time to, like, not get invested, but it happens so quickly. But I think it's worth noting that, like, my favorite long drawn out one, it doesn't get me as hard, is the one where Sam ties up the mystery spot dude. And he's just fucking wailing on the walls with the axe. And you can see Dean just mild panic, like, it's going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. Don't even worry about it. But Sam kills Dean in that one.
Yeah.
And I never hear anyone fucking talk about that. Why are we not talking about that? Sam kills Dean. And then, like,
well, you just heard it.
Sam was holding the axe. What do you think? Dean axed himself in the face?
You never know.
That is fair.
Well, I mean, we're establishing it was an accident, right? Like, we're establishing the fact that
they're fighting over the axe. But
yeah.
I mean, like, what I mean is not Sam kills Dean, like, in a malicious, deliberate act, but it's at Sam's hands.
Yeah.
Whereas the others, the shotgun, the car, the piano, the taco, the fucking sausage, whatever.
Yeah.
They're all external forces. Whereas that one, Sam is sort of directly hands-on. And I guess it must not mean anything because it's not fucking alluded to. Sam doesn't spend the next 4 Tuesdays moping around going, oh my God, I killed my brother.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the very next scene is after that? Because I'm wondering how much
after the axe is the dog.
Because I'm thinking it's like, with Trickster setting all these kills up, for Sammy to do something accidentally that kills his brother, and maybe Trickster wasn't quite ready for the next scenario yet, and quickly dove into a dog and attacked him.
Well, no, I wonder
That's
too if that maybe that does give Sam pause. Yeah, like watching that scene after again, when they're in the diner after he's axed Dean, there might be more like resignation. Like that'd be an interesting scene to rewatch, because I feel like maybe he is sort of like at the point where he's maybe close to giving up, because he's like, I don't know what else to do, and I don't think I want to do something again that's going to have me inadvertently be the one to kill Dean. Because I'm watching this scene now, and as they're going into the diner, Sam takes the old man's keys, puts them on the table, and he's talking to Dean about it, but he looks so dejected. Where before I think he was more invested. He was more like, I really want to try to figure it out. And yeah, I think he's kind of like, I think he even tells Doris, like, you should really practice. You should practice. You should be a better shot. Like, you're really not a good shot or something like that. So it's like he's just kind of like commentating on all of the horrific things that have occurred. And I think this might be even when he like parrots. Does he parrot Dean back? They do the whole thing. Scene. Yeah, I don't think that's here yet. But yeah, then the next thing is when Dean's like, and all the so Dean's like taking the lead at this point, and he's like, "Did you ever go back and talk to this chick?" He does that. So it's like, I think Sam's not as focused as to what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, he knows.
That caused Sam to drop his guard.
Yeah.
When Sam went off and got that information. And when Dean comes back saying, this is the connection. And Sam, instead of trying to protect Dean at that point, just left Dean and ran back there. And that's when he gets attacked by the dog.
Yeah. So like I said, I think it's that, that always that chess, like somebody's watching in this situation, somebody's very invested in every day. And that's definitely the Trickster doing that. But yeah, that's the next stuff that happens and then I think after that there might be the montage, but I'm not sure. No, I think after that is maybe the sausage. Wait, no. Hold on.
No, that's early. That's the third one.
Oh yeah.
No, fourth. Yeah. It goes shotgun, cold open shotgun. And then it's car, piano, sausage.
I think we should try to push through because I know we're getting to even more difficult stuff. But
rip the band-aid off this puppy.
What's next? Ugh. What's next?
So the next thing I wrote down is I'm supposed to wake up. That was the next thing I wrote down.
Yeah.
Which is
when Dean dies on that Wednesday. Yeah.
For real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's and when we were watching it, I was like, I need you to pause this for a minute. Give me a minute. And fucked off. That's the point for me when it goes from like the Dean's deaths are hard to watch in the same way that Sam's death in 2 was hard to watch. But it's still, it's gonna be fine because there's 13 more seasons. Like Dark Side of the Moon, although I don't like that episode. It's going to be okay. But that moment in the car park for me makes it real. Yeah. Even though I know there's 12 more seasons of this show, and I know that Dean's not really dead. Like, I know that he's not really dead at the end of 3, and I know that he's not really dead any of the fucking times either of them die. That makes it real. Well,
because it's real for Sam at that point. That's why,
but there's something about that moment where my real life grief takes over. Yeah. And there's just something. I mean, it's a whole multitude of things, isn't it? It's Sam's just complete and utter horror. But it's such a child's plea. And I'm so intimately familiar with it because I've made those same kind of child's pleas so many times that's the moment when I'm like, oh no, this is real now. Fuck.
Yeah.
So do you think when this gets played on, like, say, Netflix, when they put on those little warnings at the top of what kind of things you might be triggered by, sexual scenes, smoking, other stuff, if they would find a warning to put in about what kind of trauma that would be triggering?
It probably should, yeah. It probably should. I don't know if they do, but it probably should. Yeah. I don't know what you'd want for though. Character death, because people would be like, it's supernatural. Everyone,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I want AO3 tags in that major character death. No take backs, he's dead. Yeah. But yeah, and it's I really really don't like that scene.
Mm.
Because it's so, like, that's not a man that's lost his brother. That's a child who's lost his everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's supposed to wake up. It's not supposed to, it's not supposed to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. And there's, as somebody who has gone through cancer with somebody, and I know I've talked to you about this, Sandra, there's knowing and there's knowing.
Mm-hmm.
There's knowing something's going to happen in the abstract. Like, we're all going to die. You're going to die. There's knowing. And there's even knowing in a more timely manner.
Mm-hmm.
I knew my mum was going to die. I knew my mum was going to die 6 months before she died. I knew she was going to die soon, 8 weeks before she died. But there's knowing and there's knowing.
Yeah.
And there's thinking that you've accepted something. And I know Sam never accepted Dean's death, like, up until the point. Nobody was more surprised than Sam when Dean died.
Mm.
He never accepted that was the way it was going to be. But there's, an abstract exception of the inevitable. Again, in that same kind of, well, we're all going to die, In the abstract, everyone's going to lose their parents. Everyone's going to, But when it comes, your whole brain just rebels against it completely. And there's no amount of knowing, and that you can't logic your way out of it. You can't go, well, I knew this was going to happen. There's no defense that you can make against what's happened, no matter how prepared you thought you were for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why that scene gets me so much as well. Like, Sam's aware that Dean's gonna die, and it's it's coming, it's looming, but he's so woefully unprepared when it happens. And he's not even trying to come to terms with that. Like, if you imagine Dean's demon deal as a terminal diagnosis in our world, most people at least attempt to come to terms with that, and attempt to go, okay, well, I don't have as much time as I thought I had, and I should do something about that. But Sam's not even made that attempt.
Right.
So it's, and he thinks he's moved the chess pieces right. He's done all the right things. He's moved all the chess pieces in the right place. And then it's just a fucking truck to the face.
Yeah.
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 But that's the only way I can describe it, is the knowing and the knowing.
When my godmother passed, and Ted and I were married a year at that point. And I think, like you said, Kasey, like, when you get the diagnosis of cancer and you try to do all the things that you think are going to, help stave it off or prolong it, or that you can try to have an effect on to some extent, right? And then there's the moment when, you've been at their bedside for days, just waiting, to just like, finally have to let go. And then doing the thing where you think you've said the goodbye and you've done the thing, and the person's then gone. I think for me, it's the waking up the next day and having that brief moment of everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's the way it was. And then you're like, oh no. I think that in that moment, I kind of understand, Ted's, when Ted talks about, my husband is like a rock in certain situations. Like, he can always be dependent on, but there's also the loss that everybody experiences in different ways. And I know he's talked about the fact that, he didn't have as much time with my godmother as I did. And he always like wishes he had more time with her too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think it's that having, that split second of, oh, everything's fine waking up, and then no, and then you gotta go through it, you know.
For a period of time, it's like getting that call all over again.
Yeah,
for every time when you wake up.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I've spoken to Sandra about this. The only person who was surprised when my mother died was my mother. The rest of us knew, but she was so firmly in denial about the situation that, you know, she robbed all of us of that period of time of adjustment. Because how can you even attempt to wrap your head around something? How can you even attempt to adjust to something? When someone is literally sticking their fingers in their ears and going, la 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 la, this is not happening. You can't have the conversations that you need to have with somebody. You can't say the things that you need to say in the face of that, you know?
Yeah.
So and Sam, you know, Sam was my mother. Sam was sticking his fingers in his ears going, nope, this is not gonna happen. I'm gonna fix it. There's gonna be some magical moment that's gonna make it all better, and it's all gonna be fine.
You know what I think too? Because I'm thinking more about the way Dream a Little Dream ends. And it's when in that episode Dean is confronted with his demon version when he's in the dream state. And when he comes out of it, and I think the one thing he says to Sam towards the end of that episode is, I don't want to die, Sammy. And I think that could be then the whatever ignites this other thing in Sam, you know, that like, you know, his brother's finally said the thing, you know, he's talked a good game. He says he's ready for it. Fine, whatever. But then he's like, I don't want to die. And I think that's another reason you see Sam like this in this episode. Do you know what I mean? Like fingers in his ears, like, no, my brother doesn't want this to happen. And if he's seeing this over and over and over again, and you know that's what his brother does not want. Like, I mean, theoretically, no one wants this, right? But like in this way, like you need to have to see it over and over and over and over again. And when he's heard his brother say to him, no, this isn't what I want, I think that's another reason he's fingers in his ears so much in this episode too.
That's probably part of the reason why he can't internalize whatever message it is the Trickster wants him to internalize, because he's not accepted Dean's death in the abstract even.
Yeah.
Not even at some future point. Never mind within a year. Never mind today.
Yeah.
But yeah, that fucking car back scene.
Yeah.
I can see it in my mind's eye now. I'm supposed to wake up. And it's also worth bearing in mind. Now, I never watched this episode before my mum died because I didn't know Supernatural existed in 2014. Oh god, I'm so old. I've never seen this episode without the sort of the curtain of grief over it. But I do know that Jared had a hard time filming this episode. And they've had hard times filming episodes, you know. It's got to walk it off sometimes. But I remember the quote from Jared. He was like, it was a week of hell for me. I just had to show up and be miserable every day. And he's an excellent actor. He's an excellent actor. But the places you have to take yourself to present that kind of emotion on camera is exhausting. And we're coming off the back as well, which me and Sandra learned when we spoke with Sam and Dean 76, that this was recorded not long after Jared's breakdown in 2008. You know, where he was formally diagnosed with depression, and you know he'd had a really fucking rough go of it. So he's already, you know, and then he's got to show up to work and think of things that are going to make him cry, and think of, you know, loss to be able to present that emotion on camera.
Right.
It's difficult to imagine. You know, like we've all had shit days at work. We have, but like, a shit day when you sit in front of a spreadsheet all day, and a shit day when you've got to imagine your brother dying to get some emotion on camera are very different, I think.
See, the more I watch it, the more amazed I am by the episode. I think I just pick up more every time I watch it again. I guess I'm seeing all of the nuance in the acting and the amazingness of, like, the team, behind it, because I just, like, there's just things you pick up every time. And even having the discussion with everyone, like the whole scene with the Trickster being Bobby, and how people were picking up on, well, that's not really how Bobby would have reacted as soon as he'd seen Sam after so many, Sam should have, like,
I maintain that.
Yeah.
That, like, if Sam didn't, like, I will buy that Sam knew that wasn't Bobby.
Or that he was preparing for the fact that it could have,
he was preparing
might not have
that
been
it could
Bobby.
not have been Bobby. Yeah. But the Trickster dropped the fucking ball there, because that is not how Bobby, I don't think, that's not how Bobby would have reacted to seeing Sam after 6 months. And I know that he has a soft spot for the boys, and I know he can be soft with them, but that was a hug. I think a hug, and then where the fuck have you been?
Yeah.
I'm not doubting the hug.
No, I'm thinking a hug and a punch.
Yeah.
Because he's been ignoring all the attempts to contact him for all these months. And it's like, I'm so glad you're alive, but you know what? Hit him. I'm so mad at you. I'm gonna punch you.
Yeah. Like, I can totally buy a hug. We've seen many episodes and instances where someone has hugged somebody and then punched them in the face, or punched them in the face and then hugged them. Remembering profit and loss and losing my soul again.
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, that whole, it's so good to see you, son. Like, no, you overplayed your hand there. You fucked it. You fucked it. But then that moment afterwards, where after he kills Bobby, quote unquote, and it drags on for so long, and you can see
his doubt that, what did I do? Yeah. Yeah. That's hard. It's a very, very, very hard. Yeah.
And then again, when they're having a conversation, and it's that, and it got mentioned in the Discord yesterday about the soft voice and the little voice, but it's a child's voice. It's a child's plea. Again, please, make it stop, make it better, fix it.
Yeah.
Which is, and I think, there'll be listeners out there that have lost loved ones, and it depends on your relationship with the person that passes away, but for someone like a parental figure, or an older sibling, you are very much reverted to a child, pleading the adultier adult to fix this. You don't, or at least I certainly didn't. I can't speak for everybody, but you don't view yourself as an adult in that moment. You are very much reverted to a child, and you are looking around for anybody to fix this problem for you, because that's what the person who is gone now did, and they're not here, but somebody can fix it, surely.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it takes a brain a long time to internalize that.
And I think it's also interesting too, the fact that, in this pocket dimension, in this time after Dean's gone, Sam never does go search for Bobby. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't reach out, and he just isolates himself even more, because that's technically like what he does in season 4 is, once Dean's gone, he leaves Bobby behind. Like, he doesn't stay, like he moves past it and goes on this, he takes a fork in the road where it's, I've got to do this myself now. I've got to figure this out myself. For whatever reason, he doesn't ever reach out, because Bobby was still there. Bobby was still an option, even, I get, in the pocket dimension, even though it wouldn't have been quote unquote Bobby,
reaching out to someone else is still an option. But there's for someone like Sam, Dean was it.
Yeah.
I think Dean had a much more father relationship with Bobby than Sam did. That's not to say that Sam didn't love and care for Bobby, but I think Dean really did see him as a second father figure, whereas Sam was like maybe an uncle, just a little bit more removed. So for Sam, his parent is Dean, and that person is gone. So in Sam's mind, I'm on my own, you know, and that's when you have that kind of relationship with one person who has been everything for you, that loyalty doesn't transfer in my experience. So when that one person is no longer there, you're like, well, guess it's just me now. And you do kind of isolate a little bit. And I know for me personally, in my experience, it was because the people around me did not subscribe to the circles of grief. They did not get on board with that. They dumped all of their nonsense on me as well. So I was handling my nonsense and my mother's nonsense, and then they were all like, "Oh, would you like our nonsense?" And I would like nobody's nonsense, thank you.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Hold our nonsense," So there was very much that I had nowhere else. I had no one to give my nonsense to. You know?
Yeah.
I just didn't have anyone to give my nonsense to. So I was like, well, guess I better put all my nonsense and everyone else's fucking nonsense in a bag and just carry on. And I'm still carrying that bag now. It's very fucking heavy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have everybody else's nonsense in it. It just has mine in it now. But Sam's kind of like, I feel like Bobby had maybe not given up in the same way that Dean had, but I think Bobby was probably a bit more, what is the fucking word? Accepting is not the word, but you know what I mean? Like Bobby had kind of just been like, yeah, this might happen.
Yeah.
So Sam was maybe like, well, can't take this to Bobby because he's just accepted that Dean was going to die anyway. So he's like, well, I can do this. And then in season 4 with Ruby, he was very obviously manipulated by Ruby. Like, I'm not arguing that. He was using Ruby almost as much as Ruby was using him. She was a means to an end as well.
It just makes it more interesting, too, to think about, like, the pocket dimension, the time after without Dean. Like, how much more difficult, I don't know, how easier was the Trickster making it for Sam to not have any other option? Do you know what I mean? Like, to be all on his own. Like, if that made it, if he made it even 100 times more worse than it could have been, because even though you hear Bobby apparently calling to check in, like, I don't know, it's almost like an apparition of some sort, or like, just like the vibe of somebody, but not feeling that person was really there to go to. I don't know, like it makes me question a lot more about those 6 months too, and how much more manipulative, like, was the Trickster just writing it out the whole time, or was he kind of doing a Chuck thing, right? Like every once in a while, well, let me see what happens if I do this. Let me see what happens if I do this. And yeah, I really don't I don't like him at all.
Yeah. You got to wonder if Sam was doubting if that was even ever Bobby.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Because he could have been like, I don't want to spend, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anything. I'm not even going to reach out, or I'm going to just wait and see. How, again, like playing chess, because if at that point too, like, you've got to think the reality, he doesn't know what's real and what isn't. If he knew the Trickster had done all of that stuff, what's to say he was just, maybe he did also still believe he was, because he does ask, right? It's like he's trying to find the Trickster that whole time. So he does ask to bring Dean, he wants Dean back. So how much of it was he just being like, no, this isn't real? I just have to keep doing this. It's just so many questions.
There's every chance that he was like, okay, new game. I need to figure out what pieces I got to move for this now.
Yeah.
Heavy episode. And I'm sorry, because I know you guys like that episode, and I'm like, here are all my related traumas with this episode. And now we're at the end of this episode of the podcast, and you're both going, Oh,
No. I mean, I
that
think,
was. Whew.
like I said, I mean, I think I understand all of the reasons why this is not, like, I get it. Like, and I think unpacking it and understanding it more helps me, I think, be a little bit more sensitive to the fact that, even though I may still find merit and things about this episode that I truly do enjoy, like you said, there's this reality, and we've talked about this more recently, I think, even about just certain fiction, right? Like there's some genre of fiction that is just too close to reality for you. And it's like, no, I can't go there, And so I don't think it doesn't,
I mean, it's something we discussed when we were talking about tags and tropes amnesia.
Yeah.
It's just too close to home.
Yeah.
It just hits a little close and it hits a little hard. And I'm not saying it's not a bad episode by any stretch of the imagination. It's good and it's clever.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a lot of opportunities to look at the relationship between the boys. But for me, it's too close to home and it makes me the big sad.
Yeah. Do you think, like, if we pull it back a little bit, because I know we're going to try to, like, end this on a little bit of a, I don't know, if we can, a positive note. Like, do you feel like this is one of those episodes? Because how, like, there's certain episodes that just trigger a shit ton of fanfic. I think I might have to research this at some point.
There's a lot of mystery spot.
There's a lot of mystery spot, like either coda or like maybe like the different ways, like, the time spent, like all those different things that people just expand on. But that might be a research topic for me at one point, is like, going through like, certain, however, like how many episodes are tagged with this mystery spot, like how many fics are tagged with this mystery spot tag.
And I've read a few of them. I've read a few of them, like, what kinds of things does Sam try to get Dean to figure out that they're in a time loop, and, opportunities Sam takes when he knows that Dean's going to wake up in the morning with no memory of it. Like, they're not my, I don't search them out, but if I come across them, I don't discount them. I'll give them a go. But the actual, the pain on Sam's face.
Well, yeah.
It all just gets too real.
It's a hinge point episode. It's very important, I think, to the show as a whole, even though it feels like a bottle episode in a way because of just the way it's structured. I think it is such an important aspect of their personalities, characterizations, and like, how they deal their relationship internally and how important it is. I think you get that feeling.
I'd put it up there with What Is and Should Never Be and Dark Side of the Moon in terms of like learning about them.
Revelations. There's a lot of like, it's really interesting too, because the way it's structured, like Dream a Little Dream is very Dean revelation, and then you get this one. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like there's a span. This is one of those, oh my gosh, span of episodes, I think, that are so very important in the show. And there's like, in terms of the creativity and what they go through and what they talk about, there's maybe 4 or 5 episodes. I feel like this is like an incredible run of episodes of
this kind
show.
Of like, oh, Dean's dying, we better lay some cards on the table about it. And there is, I mean, assuming you don't have somebody like my mother, there is a honesty in that period of time in someone's life. Because when that clock is counting down in a very real way, you can be honest and you can talk about stuff and you can lay things to rest and say what needs to be said, because you know that there's a finite ending to that. Any final thoughts, Ted? Ted's just been like, oh God, I've just watched you spill your guts everywhere, Kasey. Fuck.
My mind is just too much processing in my head right now. So kind of.
Yeah. Sorry for ruining an episode.
No apologies. No.
I think it's just the understanding that, like you said, everything hits different for people in different ways. And I think it's always interesting when you get to go back to an episode after more life happens.
Yeah.
I do that a lot with certain movies I've like maybe watched when I was younger, and then watching it through older eyes with more experience, you get something else out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, similar to like you, Kasey, like I came to the show late. So a lot of the things that I've already dealt with had already happened. And there's certain gut punches of moments in Supernatural that are very reminiscent of me losing, my godmother. Towards the end, especially, the final episode is that one's a tough one with the telling someone it's okay, they can go now. Like I had that like I did that with my godmother too. Like, when she was in bed, like, I just, because I felt like she was holding on, like she was medicated. She was not conscious, and she was just holding on. And, I felt like, at one point, I think it was just me and her in the room. And, I told her, I said, Val, I said, it's okay. I said, you can go now. I said, I've got this, I'll take care of things. You don't have to worry. And I think I've told you, Kasey, that, it was literally like, it wasn't until my mom, Ted, and I left and her family came in for like the next watch. It was, what was it, Ted, like half an hour? We weren't even home, I think.
She chose that time.
And she passed when we weren't there. And, I still think that, she was holding on for us when she clearly didn't have to, like she just needed to be okay with letting go. And man, there are moments
That's very common.
But that last episode of Supernatural, when that happens, I think again, I blocked it out. We're coming close to watching it again, and we'll watch the whole thing over. But like, I think, Dean needing to hear it, right? That it's okay.
Oh yeah.
And then Sam hearing it from his son, it's like, it's that, it's that gut punch. It's that universal feeling of, loss and somebody just trying so hard to make sure that they're there. Yeah, that's there's lots of moments that when you have more life, they hit you different, and you can't go back to seeing it in a different way because you've got the experience, so it's always
100%. I wonder who we'd be if we'd watched that episode in 2008 when it aired, or afterwards, bought the DVD or whatever. Yeah. How would we view that episode untouched by those things?
Yeah.
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 It's everyone's sad now.
Well, I mean, I'm appreciative of you taking the time to do this again, like, and again, like, you did it. I'm hoping maybe that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping you're glad that you did this, to kind of like maybe process it more. I am glad
because it was getting to the point when we were talking to different guests and they were like, oh no, I love Mystery Spot. I think it's really funny. I really like it. And it was getting to the point where I was like going, it's fucking me. I'm the problem. And I was pretty sure it was like regarding Dean, where I was like, oh nope, this presses all of the grief buttons.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to go back and watch it and, be able to say it's a fucking great episode. It's just too close to home for me. And having you guys.
Like there were people in the Discord yesterday that also appreciated what you were saying. It wasn't all about, it's fun watching Dean die over.
And over. But that's it. Like having you guys with me and having the Discord with me and stuff like that. It was really comforting in a way that I didn't expect it to be, because I'm good at talking about emotionally vulnerable things. I'm not good at being emotionally vulnerable. And that's, I learned that about myself, because I'll talk about, the worst things that have happened to me with dry eyes, but I don't, like, I'm not emotionally vulnerable with people. But but kind of like, I wish I'd had you guys around me in 2014. I think it would have been different.
Yeah,
you know?
it would
you
have.
got it. You got it. You guys, there was none of like, oh, you can do it, just get through the episode. There was no like expectation to be brave or to put on like, be stoic or to put on a face or anything like that. You were like, you guys were all just like, feel your feelings and we're here and you take a break if you need to. And I was really, really comforting. I feel like as difficult as it was to watch the episode and as difficult as it was to like go through it now, I feel like maybe some demons have been exercised in the process.
Aww.
A little bit. You guys are the bestest. I love you.
Good.
Aww.
Good.
I'm glad that we could be there for you.
Yeah. And I'm glad that,
you
like
guys
I said,
could move to Europe.
You know what? We might have to.
Yeah, bring your mom. Bring your mom.
Oh, goodness.
I hear Ireland's quite nice.
I'm glad, though, Kasey. I mean, I'm glad that even though we couldn't be there for you then, I'm glad we're here for you now. That's the thing. So,
And it's taken a long time for me to be able to go, okay, well, that wasn't there now. Wait, what? That wasn't there then, but you have it now. And you can kind of like overlap the two in my brain and be like, if you had these people in your life then, they would have been there for you and take that comfort from that, instead of being angry about what wasn't there then.
Yeah.
But you guys are the bestest, and I love you. And if you could just move to Europe, please, because it's really inconvenient. Because my husband doesn't want to come to Delaware, and I'm illegal in a lot of your countries. So
yeah, no, we get it. We get it. Trust me.
Just move.
I'm sure if we had the wherewithal to do things like that, we would have many different places that we could just escape to. But we're not quite there yet.
Commune in Norway. And even you can't complain about Norway, Ted, because it's fucking cold there.
Wow, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, goodness.
No, I want to hit part of my homeland back down in Scotland.
Yeah, that's something I think we'd like to do at some point.
Scotland's an option, but Scotland is part of the UK. So, I was kind of like, Ireland's its own place. The Republic of Ireland is its own. It's its own country. It's not cool.
So we want to thank Kasey for being the brave person that they are to do this and to work with this through us, with you and all the things, and thank our Discord too for being a part of the rewatch. I think it was extremely helpful and we really do appreciate all of you. But for now, we're going to wrap up this episode. We're going to thank you for listening and we want to know what you thought. I'm hoping there's going to be lots of thoughts and also lots of hugs for Kasey. Email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. Comment on Spotify in the Q&A section. Leave a YouTube comment. Join our Discord and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers, and we'd love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks the Music tier, we have Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, Elia, and Charlie. Thanks for picking the tunes in the car and keeping the lights on in the bunker. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Don't forget, you can always support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. So, as always, we have the causes that we support in the description. From me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes we are highlighting, championing, spotlighting are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you to our Discord for joining us last night. And helping me get through the rewatch. Thank you for Ted. Thank you to Ted, even. Thank you to Ted for joining us last night and joining us today. You are always a delight to have on the show. You're my favorite guest. Sorry to everyone else that's ever been on the show. And thank you for joining us in the back seat. And we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Very
bye,
good.
Ted. Oh, I thought Ted was going to get
to say bye. Ted, are you going to say goodbye?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for very much, Sandra and Kasey, for having me on your show. I really enjoy having these wonderful chats. And Kasey, big giant hugs. Thank you so much for sharing your history with us, and we want to be there to cheer you up.
Aw, isn't he a sweetie? He's such a sweetheart. So, yes, bye, everybody. Ted says
Bye, guys. Thanks, guys.
Bye.